There's no better way to program your subconscious mind than listening to positive statements over and over. And there's no better way to do that than in a semi-meditative alpha brainwave state. I've created 3 prosperity meditations on hightimelinebooks.com to help you do just that. And for a limited time, you can get all 3 for the price of 2. So take your life to a higher vibe. Check them all out at hightimelinebooks.com.
Hello, fun astrology friends. This is Alisa Dixon, and happy Friday to you all. So was it just me, or was it a struggle to get out of bed this morning? Anyone else moving a little more slowly than usual? If so, that's thanks to the void of course moon we woke up to this morning. My experience when the moon is void of course in the early morning hours, I feel a little foggier, and I have a harder time getting it together to get going about my day. Fortunately, the moon moves into Cancer at 11:29 a.m. Eastern, ending the void, and we all can wake up. Now, all the focus lately is around the eclipses we're getting ready for, or the Venus retrograde we're already in, or the Mercury retrograde that's starting soon. But looking at today's chart, something really stuck out to me that I couldn't ignore. And it's our good friend Pluto. And you guys, I really tried to ignore Pluto today. I looked at this chart several days in a row trying to find something else to talk about. But Pluto is just really in my face today. And you may be wondering, why don't I want to talk about him today? Well, Pluto is intense, and he makes us go deep into the subconscious. And he pulls things into focus that we don't necessarily want to deal with. The things Pluto makes us see are the things we can't later unsee. There's no going back to the way things were before. And with that, it's just heavier energy. And Pluto has been all the craze lately with his monumental move into Aquarius and his recent oppositions with Mars, which created big angry energy. And now we have a little break. Pluto seems content in Aquarius, and he appears to be minding his own business. But here's the thing. Pluto is never just minding his own business. When he's not active in a big, obvious way, he's biding his time, lurking in the background, waiting until it's time to turn our worlds upside down. In the name of transformation and rebirth of something better, of course, Pluto transits are eventually a really good thing. They just don't feel good when we're in the middle of it. So coming back to today, I noticed a few things about where Pluto is and what he's doing up in the sky. And try as I might, I just can't look away. For one, Pluto just arrived and is settling into 3 degrees of Aquarius, which I'll talk about in a minute, but just note the degree. 3 degrees Aquarius is important. Second, Pluto is getting ready to talk to Venus in a couple of weeks. And third, Pluto has already been talking with Mercury earlier this week and will continue their conversation through March and April. So, as my husband says, anytime I start talking astrology terminology, he says, "But what does this mean?" It helps to first understand on a very basic level the mythology of Pluto and Mercury. Pluto is the lord of the underworld, and Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is the only planet that can go between our world and the underworld. So when Pluto and Mercury are talking, this is a time for us to pay attention to what's coming up. This can be through thoughts or conversations or dreams, or if you have people or things from the past resurfacing. Now, the really good news is that Pluto and Mercury are working together. They're not fighting. When we had those Pluto-Mars oppositions recently, those were big angry fights, leaving behind some emotional cleanup. But this is productive energy. Pluto and Mercury working together will bring mental clarity around the deeper things that are needing our attention. Now, switching gears to when Pluto talks to Venus next, it's going to be her last week retrograde in Aries. Venus retrograde in Aries is frustration, tension, anger bubbling up. Pluto will intensify this, but in a productive way. Pluto and Venus are also going to be working together, and they will show us how we feel about whatever Mercury just brought into our conscious minds. The deeper things that need attention, Venus in Aries is passionate about righting wrongs. And with Pluto's help, Venus will channel her passion into a focused plan. So, Pluto and Mercury show us what we need to deal with. Pluto and Venus bring the passion and focus around solving the problem. And again, I'm hearing my husband in my ear. What does this mean? What is the problem? So let's round back to that 3rd degree of Aquarius that I told you was important. Pluto opposed Mars in a pretty big angry way twice already. Once on November 3rd and again on January 2nd. And looking ahead, he's going to do it again on April 26th, when Mars gets to 3 degrees of Leo, which is opposite Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. And that's the degree Pluto is settling into now. This is what made me see Pluto, and only Pluto, today. And in true Pluto style, I couldn't unsee this. I had to address it. The reason this is important is because astrology is all about patterns and themes and timing. Usually when planets meet in the same way 3 times, it's a 3-part story. It's likely that whatever explosive event or interaction that you experienced or heard about in early November was related in some way to another similar event or experience in early January. And another similar event or interaction is coming again in late April with the last of these 3 oppositions. So with Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius today, and working together with Mercury and Venus in the coming weeks to dig up and solve problems, I think it's all related to this 3-part story. The next few weeks are going to give us clues about who will be involved and which area of our lives will be impacted by this last Pluto-Mars opposition. And the most beautiful gift of astrology is to have this heads up so we can prepare mentally through Mercury, emotionally through Venus, and inevitably through Pluto, so that when we look ahead to April 26th, we can be intentional around our thoughts and actions and the people we love, and minimize any potential emotional fallout that may be coming. So you guys, we've got this. This is why we talk about it, to get ahead of it. Today, Pluto seems to be minding his own business. He's just chilling out in our subconscious minds. Speaking of which, head over to the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast or our Facebook group for some more March funness. And if you love your Fridays with me here, please find and follow my new weekly podcast, Astrology with Alisa, where I tell my story of how astrology found me and how I use astrology in everyday life. I'm on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen. My trailer is live, and I'm launching new weekly episodes on March 29th. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you all again next Friday. Have a great weekend, and take care, everyone.